Good evening, all. This is the blended learning course CH22036 First Aid and Safety Precautions. Now we are with the Unit 5 Safety Training and Regulatory Compliance. In this, we are to the fourth topic overview of relevant regulations and standards. That will be the topic. This will be discussed for an half an hour, which has four subtopics and one case study. That is what we have here right now. Relevant regulations with respect to the safety training, and this is what will be regulatory compliance. So, what are the relevant regulations? Are we matching with that? That will be checked over here in this overview of relevant regulations and standards. That will be the topic here. Let us go into the detail into the topic. Fourth topic, which is the fourth topic. This has another three more subtopics. Now we are to the fourth topic. It is an intro about the topic where we have the first subtopic is environmental regulations and standards, followed by occupational health and safety regulations and standards. Then we had first aid standards and employer responsibilities. And this is we have three topics and conclusion is there. And then we have one case study for this. A case study has been given and which has been discussed in detail, and it has been given with outcome, and the analysis has been given very clearly taken up. With this, we come with the conclusions. This is what we have some 20-25 slides, which is spread out for an half an hour duration. Let us go in detail or in depth into this fourth topic. Fourth topic, a comprehensive understanding of relevant regulations and standards. Yes, we should know whenever there is a topic which is whenever there is no legal implications or regulars or standards, we will not match and it will not happen to the quality cannot be maintained. At the same time, we will not follow it meticulously. So we need essentially there is a regulations or some kind of legal measures should be there. That is what a comprehensive understanding of relevant regulations and standards is the fundamentals to establish and maintaining a robust safety culture. By any cost, we have to maintain it. We cannot give any kind of reasons and sayings there. So it should be mandated there and it should be meticulously done in the industry without any hesitations. No one should have any objections. When you want to wear safety shoes, on any cost, you have to wear the safety shoes and go. If you are not healthy or whatever may be the reasons, don't tell any reasons. Follow the things meticulously, or it's a robust safety culture. And environmental responsibility. We should also ensure we will not compromise the environment aspects within any organizations. Management's role, as discussed in the earlier topics, which includes the compliance with the legal and the industry specific requirements. This will provide an overview. This complete presentation will provide an overview of some key regulations. We have some three different regulations which we will be seeing one by one: environmental, first aid, and as well as occupational safety. All the three standards and regulations will be discussed in detail, which are identified, which are closely related with this topic. So we will be discussing that with the provided sources. So let us go into the first regulation and standards. First is environmental regulation standards, which has 7 points. Let me discuss one by one with respect to environmental regulation standards. The very first one is the common hazard. Environmental Protection Authority exports several areas where business must adhere to environmental regulations in Victoria, Australia. That includes first is permission. Permission. Business may be needed to check if they require a permission, which can include registrations, permits or license, particularly for waste management. There are also specific licenses and permits for waste and information on permission exemptions. The transition of permission and waste code transition are also mentioned, indicating ongoing regulatory changes. Specific guidance topics. The Environment Protection Authority, that is EPA, Environment Protection Authority, EPA, Victoria, provides guidance on various topics which are very closely or relevant to environmental regulations such as we'll have list. That list will be studied one by one or will be given. Landfill, that is landfill solid waste, landfill pollution guidance, land and groundwater guidance, storing and handling solids, preventing water pollution, managing electronic waste, agriculture guidance, construction industry guidance, the national pollutant inventory and planning, environmental guidance. There is also noise guidance. There is also outdoor event noise permit. Like this, we have so many guidance which is in and around this topic. That is the one we discuss on this landfill pollution guidance, land and groundwater guidance, storing and handling guidance, preventing water pollution, managing electronic waste, agriculture guidance, construction industry guidance, the national pollutant inventory and planning, environmental guidance, noise guidance, that is even outdoor event noise guidance, like that. These are the things which we have in this specific guidance topics. Then we have reporting requirements. Reporting is also very, very important. The report. We should know how to present a report. The EPA, Environmental Protection, is EPA, Environmental Protection Authority, like Airport Authority of India. It is a Environmental Protection Authority. Victoria outlines the procedure for the public and business to report litter and pollution. When somebody is littering, when somebody is polluting, immediately they should be reported, including specific mechanism for reporting pollution, balloon release, smoke, odor, banned plastic bag, noise pollution, littering from vehicles and smoky vehicles, as well as illegal waste disposal. These things come as the reporting requirements. Strategic planning and guidance. What is the strategic planning and guidance we have? This Environmental Protection Authority of Victoria publishes strategic documents like the strategic plan, which will be spread out across for 5 years, for a year 22-27, environmental social governance statement 24-27, and the social roadmap 23-27. They also provide specific publications such as hydrogeological assessment guidelines and the betterment environmental plan guidelines. Notably, there is even guidance on managing greenhouse gas emission in a pet grooming salon, illustrating the breadth of environmental considerations. Last but one, we have waste management regulations, which goes beyond the permit. This Environmental Protection Authority, Victoria, provides guidance on waste classification, waste duties, declaration of use, transporting waste, waste to energy. The last one is safety standards for equipment. Business also needed to ensure that equipment meets safety standards as exemplified by the Porto guidelines for checking tanker truck safety. That's about the first regulations or the standards, which we call as environmental safety regulations, environmental regulations and standards. Then again, we are to the second one, occupational safety. Occupational health and safety regulations and standards. Now we are with that. This is a big one, which has nearly 9. Let us see one by one. Several sources address occupational health and safety regulations and standards, which is also called as OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. This one is health and safety regulation and standards. First point is health and safety at work under the United Kingdom, which explicitly mentions health and safety regulation 1981 in the UK, which places the responsibility on the employer to ensure sufficient first aid provision is in the workplace. This includes assessing needs, providing training and requalification for first aiders, and following the guidelines from the HSE, Health and Safety Executive. Next comes reporting of injuries, disease and dangerous occurrence regulations 1995. which is also called as, abbreviated as RIDDOR, RIDDOR, reporting of injuries, disease and dangerous occurrence. Regulations. We start with reporting and end with regulations. We have seen radar, this is RIDDOR. 1995 UK. This regulation mentioned specifies the employer or person in control of the premises responsibility to report said incident directly to the HSE. HSE is, just now we have seen, he is the health safety executive. This health safety executive, these include the number of death, these include the major injury, these include dangerous occurrence, which should be reported immediately, and the incidents resulting in a person being off work for more than 3 days, reported within 10 days. All accidents, no matter how small it is, must be recorded in an accident book and submitted to HER, that is environmental, that is health and safety executive. Next comes first aid training and standards. This indicates if a workplace risk assessment is been identified, the need of the first aid at work. It is a 3 days course. Emergency first aid training is a 1 day course, which is not acceptable. We have to periodically refresh and give regular training to the employees over there, which is recommended by the HSE, that is Health Safety Environment, Health Safety Executive, due to the risk of skill fade. Next comes safety data sheets. The MSDS and this example are these people cover up the health and safety administration, highlight the importance of SDS, which are provided by the chemical manufacturers. These sheets like hazardous ingredients, physical and chemical characteristics, health effects, reactivity, handling precautions, exposure, control measures, emergency procedure, and spill containment methods. Regulations may require MSDS. MSDS is material safety data sheet, which is to be upgraded time to time and get the new informations. That's about the first 4. Remaining 4 are listed like this, one by one. Now we're with the second topic, occupational health and safety regulations and standards. In that, the 5th point is regulation of the hazardous chemical. The MSDS refers as per the rule 1989 in India, which regulates these activities. These include the obligation of the site owners handling hazardous chemicals as per the Schedule 1, hazard identification, prevention information to affected persons, which is the incident notification and requirements of major accident hazards, MAH, major accident hazards, which you have seen in the first unit, and installations, handling quantities exceeding specified threshold in the Schedule 2 and Schedule 3, which gives the reporting, safety audit, contingency plans. The transport of hazardous chemicals must also comply with the Motor Vehicles Act 1988, July 2024. We'll see that. That is the first one, July. Major hazard installations, which is called as MHI HC. Major hazard installation rules. That is MSIHC 2000. The risk assessment study material source mentions the major hazard installations. The major hazard installations. Rules amended in 2000 in industry, which has diversifying elements. Diversity. This is the major hazard installation rules, which identifies and criticizes and characterizes the major hazard installation based on flammable, explosive, and toxic properties and quantities of chemicals. The study analyzes the applicability of these rules based on the alcohol product storage. Key aspects include identification of hazardous chemicals, industrial activity, duties of government authorities, general responsibility of the occupier, hazard identification, prevention, consequence, and its limitations, all to be thoroughly checked. Notification of threefold quantity changes. Suppose we need much more quantity or less quantity, there's a change in the quantity that we have to record it. That's what again I repeat. Key aspects include identification of hazardous chemicals, industrial activity, duties of the government authorities, general responsibility of the occupier, hazard identification, prevention, consequence and limitations, notification of threshold quantity changes, transitional provisions, preparations, and updating of safety reports, and which is an on-site, off-site emergency plans. Identification includes both OSHA guidance, the safety management hazard identification assessment. OSHA gives Occupational Safety and Health Administration (OSHA) on identifying the specific hazard in the workplace, suggesting the source like equipment manual, safety data sheet, inspection reports, injury and illness record, workers against, which also covers logout, tagout, confined spaces, process safety management, personal protective equipments, input from workers with job. This is one of the major breakthrough. What does this means? The tire inspection report, injury and illness record, worker compensation record, exposure monitoring results, existing safety and health program, which covers logout and tagout, confined spaces, process safety management, PPE, personal protective equipments, input from the worker, and hazard analysis. Job hazard analysis, while not a regulation itself, this guidance supports compliances with the OSHA, Occupational Safety Health Administration regulations. Next, we have logout tagout procedure. What is the logout tagout procedure? As per this logout tagout procedure, the top 10 common manufacturing hazards are the safety culture. Highlights the logout tagout procedure as crucial, which is the crucial one for preventing, which is the crucial one, unexpected machine startups and protecting the employees from hazardous energy. It emphasizes the need to develop and implement comprehensive LOTO. LOTO is, again I repeat it, it is logout tagout programs including written policies, training and regular audits to comply with the relevant safety standards. The last point is control of noise at the workstations. Very much comply. Control of noise at workplace regulations. Next comes noise control at work regulations in 2005. This regulation is mentioned as the top 10 common manufacturing hazard. Employers' duty to control noise in the workplace to ensure safety and compliance. The third subtopic is first aid standards and employers' regulation or the responsibilities. We regulate and we make it responsible is the last one. And then we'll conclude and then we go to the several sources discuss the standards and responsibilities related to first aid provisions in the workplace. There are so many things which discusses about this first aid measures taken in the industries. The employer's duty is to provide first aid. What is a first aider? Who will have the complete roles and responsibilities during the emergencies? which clearly states that employers are often required to have nominated first aiders on the site to comply with the specific regulations. First aiders are trained individuals with the certificates, validating their skills to manage the emergencies and provide immediate care to the employees over there. Employers are responsible for ensuring the safety of their workers, which include providing a first aider, adequate equipment, adequate first aid kit, and a potentially, yeah, there should be a first aid room. This is previously seen, but still again we repeat the same. Recording the first aid incidents. Yes, even though it's a very, very small incident, we have to record it. While in some legislations, reporting first aid injuries might not be mandatory, but here we have made it mandatory. All the incidents and all things will be mandated. Several duties, that is, employers' duties. Let us see the topics first and then subtopics, then we'll get into it. There are two subtopics in this first aid standards and the employer responsibilities. Employer's duty to provide first aiders. What is a first aid? Complete roles and responsibility, which clearly states the employers are often required to have nominated first aiders on site to comply with the specific requirements. First aiders are trained individuals with certificates, validating the skills to handle the emergencies and provide immediate care. Employees are also responsible for ensuring the safety, but still the role for first aider is much more. Employer's duty to provide first aiders. What is a first aider? Complete roles and responsibilities clearly state that employers are often required to have nominated first aiders on site to comply with the specific regulations. First aiders are trained individuals they have the certificate with them, which should be validated with their skills to handle emergencies and provide immediate core. That is what they should immediately care. Employers are employers are responsible for ensuring the safety of their workers. Safety clearly lies upon the driver and the person who is taking such responsibilities. Next one is first aiders. Keeping on recording first aider incidents. While in some legislations, reporting first aid injuries might not be mandatory, first aid meaning and definition points out that the companies often have an obligation to report them as they are the outcome of safety lapses, incident reports, but that will not be exact outcome of the particular student. Then we come to the conclusion. The conclusion is the importance of the regulatory awareness. This overview demonstrates a wide range of regulation standards that organizations must be aware of and comply with to ensure both environmental protection and workplace safety management, which plays a critical role in understanding these requirements, implementing necessary procedures, providing training, and ensuring ongoing compliance. Failure to adhere these rules and regulations can result in legal penalties. Can result in legal penalties. Management plays a critical role in understanding these requirements, implementing necessary procedures, providing training, and ensuring ongoing compliance. Failure to adhere to these regulations can result in legal penalties, reputational damage, and most importantly, which will harm the people who are serving there and the environment. Next, let me go to a competitive monitoring of regulatory changes, a proactive approach, and the compliance. The compliance. Next comes a case study. The case study is about the overview of relevant regulation standards. The scenario is An industrial facility operate process involving hazardous chemicals and heavy machinery. The company is situated in a region with established environmental and safety regulations, EPA, Environmental Protection Authority, and Health Safety Executive, both HSE. They have the equivalence and oversee the compliance. The facility is aware of general requirements for managing environmental risk, waste, emission, and workplace safety. It holds the necessary environmental permits and license for discharge and handling the waste. They understand the employer's responsibility very clearly under health and safety law to provide sufficient first aid provisions, including training and, and it's, they understand the employer's responsibilities under health and safety law to provide sufficient first aid provisions, including training and re-qualification of the first aider, which they should get updated and they should go and operate with the modern equipments. Next comes hazard identification risk management, risk assessment. That is HIRA. Hazard identifications and risk assessment. Identifying the hazard is a good occupational health and safety program. It is critical to evaluate. It is a critical element to effectively safeguard the program, safety program. Next comes hazardous material management. Regulations specifically govern facilities handling hazardous chemicals, particularly those that exceed the threshold quantities, classifying them as major accident hazard installations. The occupier of such hazard facilities has a great responsibility to identify major accident hazards and take steps to prevent them and limiting the use. A middle day safe data sheets must be prepared as per the specific schedules containing information on potential hazards and safe handling and containers that must be labeled. All these things are the mandate requirements of the thing. Next comes process safety. This focuses on the preventing incidents involving hazardous substances under pressure or at high temperatures, which implements preventing and mitigation measures. Key steps include conducting process hazard analysis, developing emergency preparedness, training and drill. Emergency preparedness and response. Regulations mandate the preparation of plans of emergency situations. This image, which is we have seen many times. Creating procedures for managing regulatory monitoring and evaluations, which are vital in the risk-based process safety management. Emergency preparedness and response. Regulations mandated for the preparation of the plan under emergency situations. Under MAH, that is major accident hazards. It is an offsite emergency which is prepared by the government authorities with the mock drills. Emergency preparedness requires both classroom training and then hands-on drill. The incident, the incident very clearly gives this hesitation allows the temperature to exceed safety limits, triggering a relief valve and releasing the hazardous vapor. The emergency alarm sounds late and confusion delays evacuations and activating the emergency response. It is a mirror of the previous scenario and several employers are exposed and nearby areas are much affected. Next comes how we analyze and how we check the impact of the accident or the incident. This incident directly illustrates the consequence of training to fully comply with the safety standard measures. Failure in hazardous identification management. That comes the first one. Failure in hazardous institution management. If I say, yeah, that's what. This has the analysis, 6 points. Let us see the 5 point analysis. Failure in hazard identification management. Process hazard analysis. When a general hazard of a temperature exertion like excited in documentation, the incidents suggested that inadequate process hazard analysis, which is also a failure to implement sufficient preventive or mitigation controls for control system malfunction. The oversight by the supervisor indicates a breakdown through that policy. Deficiency in hazardous material management procedures. While procuring the hazardous material excited, their complexity and the operator's inability to execute them flawlessly without any mistakes under pressure, which is also under pressure, suggests that requirement procedures for emergency response or release were not adequately practiced and incorporated in the industries. Lack of robust reporting and commissioning culture, which comes insufficient integration of safety into operations. The incident demonstrates safety being secondary to production, contradicting the fundamental principle in regulations like MSIHC, Ministry of Safety Environment. Yeah, that is what that occupier must adequate steps to prevent the major accidents. The relevant focus on paper compliance rather than integrating safety as a core operational value. Then again, the incident directly integrates. That is one more fifth topic. Analyzing how non-compliances is made with the regulation and standards. Non-compliance, which is not meeting the requirements. It is this one by one. By the general hazard of a temperature exertion, like excited in the documents, the accident adjusted an inadequate space, inciting bus. That's what we should know which is being operated and how it is getting operated. Definitions of the hazardous material management procedures. Lack of robust reporting and communication culture. Insufficient integration of safety into operations. Next come outcome and implications. The incident resulted in the hazardous release, employee exposures, and environmental impact, leading to significant consequences beyond the immediate harm. Regulatory bodies would require thorough investigations. The facility would like face majority, that is mandatory reporting requirements for the dangerous occurrence and potentially employee injuries. The offsite notification for the outcome the outcome is the facility would like to have face mandatory reporting requirements for dangerous occurrences and potentially employee injuries. The offsite notification requirement triggered by the release is a direct consequence of the failure to control the hazard on site. The facility would face substantial legal action, including fine, penalty, and lawsuits, as well as severe financial and reputational damage all consequences explicitly linked to the failure in process safety management. This case undergoes that merely processing the documentation requiring by the regulations. This cost of prevention, including robust hazard management training and drills, is sufficiently less than that of the cost associated with the failure. Conclusion, we are concluding this fourth topic. The fourth topic is getting concluded. Understanding and rigorously adhering to the relevant regulations. So far, we have seen three regulations and standards, and this is the case study, and case study is concluded like this. Understanding and rigorously adhering to the relevant regulations and standards is not a merely a legal obligations, which is a fundamental necessity for operating safely, particularly in industries handling hazardous material. So all chemical industries very commonly they operate hazardous materials. Regulations provide a framework for identifying the hazard, managing the risk, preparing for emergencies, and ensuring personnel are trained, well trained, and procedures are followed. This case study demonstrates that a failure to effectively implement these standard requirements. This and what happens is the merely it's not a just a paper which needs genuine interactions and operational culture which are led by management. Then comes the fifth topic. A proactive approach to meeting and exceeding the regulatory expectations is a key to prevent foreseeable accidents. With this, we conclude and we'll see in the fifth topic.